Save the rebellion! Save the dream! Alright guys, today we're talking about Rogue One, a Star Wars story. And as a lifelong Star Wars fan and a filmmaker, I have a lot to say about it. Guys, if you've seen this movie, I want to know your favorite part in the comments, and do you think they did justice to Darth Vader? Put it below and I will answer. Alright, just note that if you haven't seen it yet, there are going to be spoilers from here on out, so just warning you. Alright, let's get right into it, guys. This was an absolute pleasure to see. Truly, every facet of this film came together so incredibly well, down from the characterization, the pacing. They somehow preserved this nostalgic aesthetic that existed in that time frame. They managed to perfectly slip this little extra chapter into the library shelf that is Star Wars. And it was such a rich addition to the universe, to the franchise, to the lore, and it's going to make us appreciate Episode 4 even more when we watch it. For me, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it made me appreciate Episode 3 more. Made me appreciate all the prequels. Darth Vader is back in all of his glory, and guys, we get to see something we've never seen. Just unleash his full rage. And it was an awesome fighting style. I loved it. Because Darth Vader is now a machine. He just walks like an unstoppable force towards you. They must have just lost all hope and been super confused and horrified at the same time. And this guy's on the ceiling. He's on the ceiling! And then he's and so the guy's and then take to this! And the door's closing on his hand. Take to this! And then all the while he just... And then when he goes out and you see the cape blowing in the wind, and he's just looking after it. So yeah, really, really cool to see how the Empire runs their gig, down to how the martial law works, sort of this like World War II occupied township feeling. There's tanks going through the streets and everything. This super oppressive feel, the citizenry just absolutely dilapidated, people hanging their heads low, kind of speaking in whispers, stormtroopers inspecting people and asking for ID around every corner. Just this really gritty war feel that is so cool, and we don't get in Star Wars again because it's solely focused on the Skywalker legacy. Not a bad thing at all, but the opportunity of these spin-off films is to be able to explore those, unpack them, and open up that sort of rich texture that we just haven't seen before. It's just cool to feel sort of this interconnected, laced string through all the movies, and it's just getting a little bit tighter on some of those loose ends that kind of exist floating around in between each movie. So yeah, truly a pleasure, guys, in every way. So many one-liners in this, back to the writing. So many beautiful little jokes. It was just an absolute pleasure. I think my favorite line, though, is Donnie Yen when they're putting blindfolds over everyone's head, and Donnie Yen goes like, "Are you kidding me? I'm blind." And they're like, putting a blindfold over him. So really charming stuff, guys. What would Darth Vader do to an armed force trying to shoot him down? It's truly glorious to see. And the fact that the Force still retained that mysticism that was just thrown out the door in the prequels. The fact that he was lifting people up and just slicing them and doing all this crazy stuff and force pushing, but it's still, people had a weight to them. They had just this essence. It wasn't just, force push, you guys fly away, you guys fly away. It was scary because it felt real. These people are trapped. They're trapped in a hallway with Darth Vader, just walking towards you, slicing people to pieces with a lightsaber, firing on him with all you have, trying to survive. And they're like handing off these plans as he's just trashing them like insects. It was truly beautiful. Something I've always wanted to see. I wanted it in Episode 3 and I was denied it. Once a Darth Vader spin-off movie, a Darth Vader Star Wars story. Give it to me. My childhood hero. And for the record, that should worry you. Just a very nice addition to the lore, to the universe, to the characters. The fact that we had CG representations of characters and actors who have since passed away was truly mind-blowing. I'm so glad they didn't spoil that in trailers and they didn't kind of take away from it. It was so enjoyable to see the fact that we saw Grand Moff Tarkin in there, Peter Cushing. It just brought me back to being a kid and watching Star Wars when I was, 4 years old. Truly a joyous occasion. That being said, the new characters are just equally lovable, equally enjoyable, and they fit right into the aesthetic, right into the characterizations of the old movies. It doesn't seem out of place in the Star Wars universe. It fits in quite well. We have Jyn Erso, the whole Erso legacy and family. I love this connection, father to daughter, the fact that he reluctantly goes and tries to trick them. It also ties in so well to Episode 4. It makes perfect sense. The question we've all asked our entire lives: how the heck did they destroy the Death Star with one perfectly placed shot? This massive, massive planet-destroying weapon. And it all makes sense. And now we have the justification that it was a trap set, his revenge, his secret plot to get back at the Empire for destroying his family. his entire life. So it was really, really cool to see her sort of wrestling with the Urso legacy, and the fact that she ran into all these other characters on her journey and sort of implemented them into the quest, and they all found her charisma charming and her cause invigorating. And at the end, they all came together to really do something that is just integral to everything the Rebel Alliance becomes and everything it does from episode 4 through 6 to the advent of the second Death Star. Even Krennic, the antagonist of the film, was very well portrayed, and it was just awesome to see him sort of hell-bent on increasing his office, as it were, and trying to kind of get ahead of Grand Moff Tarkin, be regarded well in the eyes of Darth Vader and the Emperor. Really interesting to see that political power play, and equally cool to see Darth Vader just not care about it one bit. There are so many callbacks to the old movies in this. It was truly enjoyable to see little moments like R2-D2 and C-3PO, which for some reason I did not expect in this one. They were in there. We had, like I said, Grand Moff Tarkin. We have, at the ending of the movie, Princess Leia. And, of course, Darth Vader. It was just truly insane to see. Even characters like Mon Mothma, and even these Gold Leader and Red Leader pilots from the original Episode 4. I actually don't know if they took that shot from Episode 4, or if they CG'd him too, or if they got a lookalike actor with makeup. It was awesome. And there were so many cheers in the theater just erupting throughout this film. Truly enjoyable. And it's cool because it's sort of a minor struggle in the grand scheme of Jedi and the Skywalker legacy and the Skywalker epic. You have this story of something that is extremely important in the Star Wars saga, and something that is the catalyst for the entire story arc, or rather the backbone of the story arc of the first Star Wars film, that really can get overlooked. The fact that this had to be an insanely difficult operation to pull off, the fact that they had to sacrifice numerous lives to do it, and the impacts of which are essentially the Rebel Alliance became a sort of certified force. At this point, they were kind of like, we don't even think we can fight the Empire. We don't have the firepower. We don't have the manpower. And it was so, so cool to see Anakin just absolutely unleash the fact that he is a monster. Makes sense now when we watch Episode 4 why he is so intent on getting those plans to the Death Star. There's already been so much sacrifice just for losing those plans. They lost an entire Imperial base. Think about the resources, the cost, the military expenditure that was just annihilated in that scene. You can see why Darth Vader wants those plans. That being said, it was really nice to see all these characters come together as far as the new ones are concerned. I'm a huge Donnie Yen fan, so definitely biased on this, but he was awesome. I love how he treats the Force as it would be at that point, this faith, this mystic energy, this almost religious idea, this precept that is bygone, and it's kind of almost laughed at by a lot of people. I love that Donnie Yen was sort of caretaking the last, I think they said it was the last temple, the last sort of dedication memorial to the Jedi at that point, and that was destroyed too, along with that city. Really, really tragic stuff, and he sort of clings to it, clings to the idea, and I love that sort of faith walk he takes at the end, and his Kleos, his climax as a character, and he goes through being a blind man, the fact that he just relies on the Force. You have to be careful, though. He truly, while some would argue he probably is a little bit Force sensitive, just like a tiny bit to be able to fight those stormtroopers like that, he's also a blind person who, as we know from blind people in the real world, they can develop very, very good hearing. So it was really cool, though, to see, even when he does that walk at the end and he kind of bumps into the terminal, he bumps into it, he doesn't see it, and that was so sort of charming and tragic to see a blind man just walking out into a firefight, when in fact he knows he's kind of rendered useless at that point when there's, death troopers raining down chaos and fire on them when they're kind of hiding out in that bunker. Really, really cool sort of old Western feel, as we saw, or maybe old samurai movie like Kurosawa feel, Seven Samurai, as we saw all the heroes fall, and it was just so cool because, again, in sort of that epic tradition, all these heroes, they carried out one last heroic act as they fell. And to see all of them kind of bonded together with that sacrifice was so nice. Because there was a point where they kind of all knew they weren't going to get out. It was, okay, we can't get out, but we can at least try to maybe get the plans of the Death Star out. And that's what heroics is. Just there's no chance of escape at this point. They're doing it for someone else who will see that future. They will never see it. And again, even Krennic, just seeing his whole plans just melt away in front of him and crumble, to see him just kind of losing it in the midst of it all, when he was kind of just on the precipice of impressing the Emperor, of kind of being like on a speaking terms with Darth Vader, which is a lot. But that being said, truly a pleasure, guys. I recommend go seeing it. I think it's a fantastic addition. Beautiful, beautiful, even little dynamics between the characters, like Donnie Yen's character and his friend. How you can tell there's a massive history there, but we don't necessarily hear about it. We kind of just see their interactions. You can see they're super dedicated to each other as friends. And the fact when he dies at the end, as he utters that mantra to his friend that he was repeating, you can tell he sort of lost faith in his life. He hadn't uttered that in probably years, it seemed. And the fact that he said that to his friend as he was dying and then takes it up and kind of lives on Donnie Yen's spirit through himself, Chirrut's spirit through himself as he walks and takes out the Death Troopers in this sort of last stand. Really, really charming stuff. And classic heroics, epic tradition, and sort of that heroic arc as we saw in the Iliad and all these other tales coming to an end with that last final heroic push, the height of their glory before they die. And I love that. It's great to see. I was just all smiles from pretty much the beginning, but when there were big moments like Darth Vader appearing, my breath was held, man. I was so engaged. It really brought me back to being a kid and just made me want a Darth Vader movie, man. Can we get a movie of him hunting down the Jedi and just annihilating them? That would be so cool. But what a beautiful little story. And, as it was ending and I saw, sort of the tragic undertones unfolding and sort of all the heroes falling in that very, very beautiful way, brave, heroic way. What I thought is it almost felt like a short story, like a really good short film that just fits in perfectly, like I said, in sort of the library of Star Wars and just adds this rich texture to the story. So that's my reaction to it. I absolutely loved it. I'm going to need to watch it again to catch all the details, but guys, the aesthetic of the old ones is there, even down to the musical tones, the musical dancing that John Williams kind of created around the Star Wars universe and his other films has been revitalized, and it's there, guys. All these cues, even the shots and transitions that they recreated of the Death Star being fired, these little minute details, the costume work is astounding. The set design is just a stark callback to the old ones. It's just so beautifully done. And even the way that people speak, even like Alan Tudyk, it's just so well done, kind of recreating that feel, the banter. It's just fantastic dialogue pieces that really make the universe. We get caught up in the details of the amazing CG, the dogfights, the lightsaber duels and everything, but it's all about, at the end of the day, the characters, the interactions. We've now got our first Star Wars spin-off tale, our first Star Wars story, if you will, where it stands alone away from the from the Skywalker legacy. It's beautiful, and it's really promising for these other Star Wars spin-off titles as far as Han Solo and Boba Fett are concerned. But give me a Darth Vader spin-off, please. James Earl Jones has still got it, and he is the man. But yes, go see it. The cast is phenomenal, by the way. Everyone from Forrest Whitaker, the Donnie Yen, all of these awesome sort of acting choices that they kind of handpicked from around the world were so well done, and it just brought sort of a richness to the nitty-gritty of the Rebel Alliance. And what I also love is we've got to look into the Imperial sort of stronghold, and to see Donnie in action again is glorious. But that's going to be it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more reviews like this. I also do videos on martial arts, drawing, fitness, gaming, all kinds of fun stuff, so I'd be glad to have you as a part of the channel. So stick around, leave a like if you enjoyed it, and put in the comments your favorite part. Thank you so much, guys. I will talk to you soon. May the Force be with you.